Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're off. We're running. It is another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Happy Wednesday morning, everyone. We are live once again from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. They can service your vehicle. All you got to do is give them a call, 256-837-1111. That'll get you in here to Bill Penny Toyota. Now, 256-576-4977. That will get you into the show here this morning. A lot of good stuff, a lot of fun stuff to get to on a wet Wednesday morning. Coming up at the 8 o'clock hour, John Summerall, head coach of the Troy Trojans, will join us as he has a huge conference championship game this weekend. So we will hear from him. So you're going to want to make sure you tune in at the top of the hour. If you got to go away, make sure you download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app so you can hang out with 97.7 ESPN The Zone all morning. The next to last college football playoff rankings released last night in college football. And the question really, I guess, was not who was going to be 1 and 2. We all expected Georgia and Michigan to be 1 and 2, and that's exactly what happened. Now, there were some people that were possibly thinking that Michigan might jump Georgia, but that was a few minority out there, and that did not happen. The question is, where was TCU, USC, Ohio State, Alabama going to come in? And your answer is TCU number 3, USC number 4, and then Ohio State checks in at number 5. Alabama comes in at 6. Tennessee comes in at number 7. So that is how your top 7, Penn State 8, Clemson 9, Kansas State 10. That's how your top 10 break down. Really no surprise 1 through 4, 5, 6, and 7. Probably a few surprises on depending who you ask.
Well, I mean, it went about like I figured. A lot of people were wondering if Alabama would finish 5th or if they would jump over Ohio State. Personally, I think they should have been over Ohio State because I think 2 close losses by 1 possession on the last play of the game, Trump being trucked at home by 3 touchdowns when you're 8-point favorites in the Little 10. But, again, they rated Ohio State ahead of Alabama, so that wasn't really a super shock. The rest of it, to me, is inconsequential because none of the other teams have a shot. So, I think Ohio State and Alabama have very faint hopes. I mean, there'd have to be some crazy things happen. There'd have to be a TCU loss, which would create some doubt. There'd have to be a USC loss. We already talked about this yesterday. The top 4 was exactly like everyone expected it to be. It was Georgia, who should be. They're undefeated. They're the national champion, reigning. Michigan, number 2, coming off of the huge road win in the Horseshoe over the Suckeyes. And then you got number 3, TCU. Now, they've had multiple close calls, but they won them all. I mean, they're undefeated. They got to be 3rd coming out of the Big 12. And then USC, they've kind of been, sneaking up on everybody. They lost that game on the 2-point conversion at Utah, but they've continued to win and just climb up the rankings, and now they control their own destiny. If they beat Utah in the rematch, they're in. So the bottom line is those 4 teams control their own destinies. And honestly, Georgia, if they lost to LSU, would still get in. They just wouldn't be the 1. Michigan, I think, would still most likely be in. But I'll be honest with you, I give about 0.5% chance. It would almost have to be fixed for Michigan to lose to Purdue. Okay, that's just not going to happen. No. They're going to truck Purdue. Purdue is not good enough. Michigan would have to totally take their eyes off the prize. I don't see them doing that because, again, here's the deal. LSU has a better shot at Georgia than Purdue does against Michigan, and Michigan could still be the number 1 overall seed. So there is things to play for there. So I don't expect them to overlook them. And again, I think TCU and Kansas State, that should be a hell of a game.
Should be.
It's on a neutral field. Until someone beats them, I think you would have to make a TCU a 2 to 3 point favorite. But we'll see. But again,
if Kansas State somehow does pull off the upset,
then you open yourself up.
TCU still.
Some would say, well, TCU might still get in with one loss.
Make them a 4 seed.
They would
get in.
They would slip into 4. I wouldn't be shocked if Ohio State jumped over them, just simply because. Let's just put it this way: the loss for Michigan is let me just preface this too. And Ohio State would have to hope Michigan won, okay? Because you want to be your only loss to be against an unbeaten football team.
Right.
Win impressively over Purdue, which they should. And then Ohio State's only loss would be to the number 2 team in the country, even if it was at home. That would be their only loss to a college football playoff team. And, unfortunately for TCU with the timing, they would lose to a K-State team that's, in the top 11, but not considered to be as good a football team as
they're a 3-loss football team.
Yeah, So again, you would be losing to an opponent that's considered not as good. So to me, it would probably drop TCU to 5, and then Ohio State to 4. Alabama, since they're not playing, they're not going to impress the committee anymore. Right. They're going to be, I think, at 6, and that's where they're going to stay.
Well, that is big, and believe it or not, Alabama 6, Tennessee 7 is big because whoever is the top-ranked SEC team, Georgia does not count because they are in the playoffs. They would go to the Sugar Bowl. So right now it is slated for Alabama to go to the Sugar Bowl over Tennessee.
Yeah.
And if you look at the resumes, Tennessee has a great case for being 6 in Alabama, or being 6 and Alabama being 7.
Well, they beat Alabama head-to-head because of Mo, Larry, and Curley. We all know that, and Shemp. But here's what else they don't have, though, and it has to play into the eyes of the committee. They don't have Hendon Hooker, the guy that did it. If you don't have your quarterback and he got hurt, and that has to play a factor in it. They don't look. You're trying to sell tickets in these bowl games, okay?
Right, but they have 6 wins against Power 5 teams, where Alabama only has 4.
They you might say their resume's better, but you got Bryce Young and you don't have Hendon Hooker. So the guy that could have been in New York, Hendon, I wouldn't have had a problem with it at all. He won't be now because he got hurt. It's just one of those things.
But does Bryce Young play in the Sugar Bowl?
We don't know. That's a great question. Now, could that come into account? Potentially, I guess. I think Alabama and Nick Saban would like to see with the Will Andersons and the Bryce Youngs play in the Sugar Bowl. It'll be interesting to see how quickly those decisions are made and if that goes into account for being invited to said bowls. Certainly. So, and if Tennessee does not go to the Sugar Bowl, I would think it'd be the Orange Bowl that they would go to in the New Year's Six. They'd also get a bid there, probably match up with Clemson.
Right.
But again, it's going to be interesting because Tennessee, they did beat Alabama head-to-head, but they have a loss against an 8-4 South Carolina team, whereas Alabama's probably going to have a loss against an 8-4 Clemson team. So it's going to be interesting, 8-4 LSU team. So it's going to be interesting to see how the committee kind of weighs all that stuff.
Right.
I still think with both teams not playing, I don't think you're going to see any change because it makes no sense. How could it unless all the teams move up because of craziness and lunacy and losing? But I just don't see that much lunacy. I can't see.
That's why
Georgia losing. I can't see Michigan losing. The other two could lose. It's potential. And then, the biggest one's going to be if USC loses a second time to Utah, they would definitely be out of the playoff. And then it's going to come down to, do they re-examine and take a closer look at the Alabama resume or the Ohio State resume? Because again, it goes back to a point you just made. If Alabama's in the playoff, Will Anderson and Bryce Young's playing. Okay,
Right.
We know that they
Right.
won't have guys opting out. So it's going to, and that's some politics involved there, but it's going to be really interesting. But all we do know for sure, 110%, is that the teams ranked in the top 4 right now control their own destiny.
Yes.
And if they win, they are in.
The AP poll and the college football playoff rankings actually mirror each other for the top 8. Not that that matters or that is even a factor. All right, Richard is with us on line 1 this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. I didn't get to call in on Monday. I had to go into work early, but you did get to talk about Bama hoops there with you guys. I mean, after the weekend, Michigan State and UNC on over the weekend. So and unfortunately a drumming by UConn, but 2 out of 3 isn't too bad. So.
I mean, I thought it was a great weekend. We talked about it, Richard. I mean, for Alabama, I mean, a great 3 days, or 4 days, I should say. You won't see them play a more difficult stretch, and they got still a difficult one coming up. But when you're talking about Michigan State and you're talking about UConn, and I think UConn came into the deal underrated, and then you talk about North Carolina, I mean, it was a very, very difficult tournament, a very difficult draw for Alabama. It probably as difficult as anyone's in the 3 tournaments going on at the same time. So, to me, I thought it was a watershed kind of. Now, they beat Gonzaga last year in Houston, of course, and I will say one of those was at home, the Houston game, Alabama, lost their momentum. I still think this team's different to me because this team shows more toughness, grit, and on the defensive end of the floor, they rebound the ball better, and I think they're deeper. But again, I thought it was 2 really good wins, and I thought they showed a lot of resolve, finding a way to win a 4 overtime game against a really, really talented and experienced North Carolina team.
And you're talking about Houston and Gonzaga, and I think Houston's going to be twice as good as last year. But I'm not going to say Gonzaga's going to be twice as bad. But they're not, without Holmgren in there, and what was the point guard last year?
Andrew Nembhard from Florida. Yep.
Yeah, I mean. They both have a big drop-off from those 2 positions. But like I said, Houston, outside of a little bit of a scoring problem, I mean, they're going to lock you down, kind of like UConn did.
Yeah, they are. And then Alabama will have a chance. Who would have thunk that? Because North Carolina was still number 1 heading into the event. Alabama will have a chance to knock off another number 1 team, this time on the road, as Houston's number 1 in the AP poll.
I saw are you guys working the Huntsville City Classic again this year?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I saw they got the schedule out. I mean, a lot of good teams and and a lot of good players out that you're going to see. Playing in college here in a couple of years. So really a loaded life again.
Yeah, it was a big time announcement yesterday.
December 27th, it all gets underway. Your first game that morning is Austin and Jacksonville. That is going to be the first matchup there in the Huntsville City Classic. And then you get Columbia and Westminster Christian Academy as your 10:30 game. And then your noon game is Huntsville and Madison Academy, followed by Buckhorn and Sparkman. And then you get Hazel Green and Baker. And then Lee Huntsville with Oxford. Mae Jemison will take on Haleyville. And Bob Jones will take on Mountain Brook. So that is your Huntsville City Classic bracket for this year. So some good competition there.
Oh yeah, some great teams in the state and great players. Because you got the Phylon, LeBaron Phylon, from Baker, and all your a lot of your good guys from the Huntsville area. Chase McCarty and Caleb Holt. So I mean, you got a lot of your the big time players from this area in the tournament, able to see them all in one day. So,
and don't forget at Mountain Brook, they got Ty Davis. He's one of the top guards, a junior in the state, who will be a Power 5 player in my opinion. So you got him and LeBaron Phylon, you mentioned, coming from Baker. So there's a lot of star power. Now Jacksonville is going to have John Broom, who's going to South Alabama. Now, they would have had Cade Phillips, but he's moved on to Link Academy in Missouri and is signed with Tennessee. But you're right, a lot of star power going to be in the event, Richard.
Only you guys were just talking about the bowls. Does the committee determine, like, if Alabama goes to the Sugar or the Orange, or is it the conference?
The conference does.
Yeah.
The conference actually. So the SEC, the way the SEC works is they have their guidelines, and the highest rated team in the college football playoff rankings will go to the Sugar Bowl. And then outside of that, then the next one, if they're, Tennessee would be slotted probably into a Orange Bowl. And then after that, the SEC looks at the matchups and determines which teams go to which bowls.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if it was more based upon who's going to sell tickets or a ranking. So it is the ranking then.
Yeah, for the New Year's Six bowls, it's the rankings. Outside of that, then the SEC then says, okay, we like this matchup here. This will be a favorable, not a favorable one, but this will be a bigger matchup. So we're going to put this team here and that team there.
Maybe the Big Ten could have done that in the Big Ten ACC Challenge if they could do it after last night. So, I guess I think Iowa won, didn't they, Scott?
They played Georgia Tech. I didn't see the score. I know it won.
Murray had I guess his brother had a really good game. He had like 31 points.
Chris Murray, yeah. He's kind of coming into his own this season here. Giving Fran McCaffrey.
Here's my prediction for tonight. They're going to let Zach Edey play point guard for Purdue. They play Florida State.
Iowa did win the Big Ten last night.
Yep.
Only got wins from Maryland, Illinois, Iowa. Virginia beat Michigan last night. Wake Forest beat Wisconsin last night. Clemson beat Penn State in 2 overtimes, but Maryland beat Louisville. Louisville is still winless.
I'm sorry, Scott. I was actually referring to the end of Michigan and Virginia. It was a heck of a game.
Yeah, Louisville's 0-7 by the way to start the year. 0-7.
I mean, 0-7. They've lost to Bellarmine and some other mid-major type teams. They're really bad. And then Syracuse. I mean, Jim Boeheim keeps hanging in.
They're 3-4, and they scored 44 points last night in a 73-44 loss to Illinois.
Oh,
it was actually close at half. I was kind of catching up with some reading and had the TV out, but I can't remember what the halftime score was, but it was fairly close. I don't even know if they scored the second half. I mean,
they were down 7 at the break. They scored 23 in the first and 21 in the second.
Yeah.
All right, Richard.
Okay, guys. See you later.
Thanks for the phone call. All right. Yeah.
I mean, it's rough right now. I mean, that Colgate team that's going to take on Auburn this week, they've already hammered Syracuse. I mean, it's I don't know, man. I mean, Jimmy's had a great run there, but it almost seems like it's about time for him to hang it up and just retire and move on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just seems as though their talent level is not like I don't know. It's just been a gradual decline, not just all of a sudden just a falling off the table. It's just been a little bit
steady decline.
A steady decline when they're not bringing in elite players and. I mean, right now, and they're in the whole ACC, but Louisville 0-7. Good Lord.
Yeah, they're really bad. All right, Wolverine Dan's with us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning. Well, all right, wealth of knowledge. You both have a ton of it. I'm going to ask you a question and tell me what you think. Now, Michigan beat the second-ranked team, the seventh-ranked team, and I believe Illinois was ranked 2 when we played them. What wins did Georgia have against ranked teams? Could you name them?
I believe it was their non-conference schedule that really separated them apart.
You answered the question like a politician.
Did Michigan? I think Michigan played UConn, right?
No, he's talking about in football.
No,
right. I'm just saying. I think Michigan played.
UConn isn't ranked.
How many wins against ranked teams? And let me know what.
Oh, you're talking about Michigan? Well, I'm just talking about Georgia. But
I was talking about Michigan. Michigan, I believe, played UConn.
Georgia played Oregon.
Right.
And that was the first game of the year, and they were ranked, I think, 11th at the time.
Okay, that's one.
Yeah,
11.
yeah, and then they beat Tennessee when Tennessee was 3rd in the country. Actually, Tennessee was number 1. Number 1. They were actually number 1. Georgia was 3rd. And then I believe when they When they played Kentucky, they might have been in the lower regions of the top 25. And then they played Alabama, and Alabama was, a top 3 team.
Right.
So they've got some, Georgia didn't. I'm thinking of Tennessee. My apologies, Dan.
Exactly.
But yeah, Georgia's schedule this year wasn't as difficult within the league. They had most of their games at home. Their big games, they didn't have to play on the road. And probably their toughest road game, you would say, I guess, was Kentucky.
Right.
But
Michigan has 2 decisive wins against the top 10, current top 10. Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State.
And Penn State, too.
Right.
And Illinois
but
was ranked.
Those are the only
in the
2.
top
Georgia
50,
has
60.
4 right now against the current things. That's Oregon, Tennessee, South Carolina, and MSU. Mississippi State, don't forget, Mississippi State's back inside the top 25 as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think, look, and I don't know how much time I'm going to get running, but let me tell you what. This is what I think. I think this team we have right now was in the playoff last year. Lost pretty soundly to Georgia, I'll give you that. But we have a year under our belt. We've been in the playoffs. We've got a team that's rolling. Good defense, good run game, open holes, offensive, defensive line sound. Morris didn't play last week against Ohio State. He'll play this week, Big Ten Championship. I believe it'd be a lot closer game against Georgia, and I think the way we're playing it, and now that our quarterback has figured out how to throw a long ball, I think we could beat Georgia. I think we're the best team in the nation.
Well, you'll get your chance to prove it. I mean, probably if everything holds, you're going to play TCU in the college football playoff, and then more than likely Georgia. But we'll see. Maybe SC can beat Georgia. I don't know. I don't think this Georgia team is as good as last year defensively.
Right.
I think they're better offensively with Stetson Bennett with another year under his belt. But can Georgia outscore USC, or how can SC challenge them if SC beats Utah? So, but I mean, I think you're going to get your opportunity, Dan. There's no doubt about it. I think Michigan's in regardless. I think they're going to get in if they win or lose, but I can't see them losing to Purdue. So they're going to be undefeated. They're going to be no worse than the 2. Maybe the 1 if Georgia got upset, but Georgia would still be in. But I don't see Georgia losing to LSU either. So I think your 1 and 2 are going to be decided, and then it's just going to be how does 3 and 4 work out. And again, TCU and USC control their own destiny, and so I think overall Michigan's going to have their opportunity to prove how much better they are this year, no question about it. And if you get into the playoff, that's all you can ask for. And if Michigan takes care of business impressively Saturday like we're anticipating, they're certainly going to be one of the 2 heavy favorites to reach the finals. So
you're telling me you think Georgia – what's the spread on Georgia? And I know Michigan's 15, right?
That's a good question. I'm gonna look that up right now as far as the point spreads.
Georgia and Michigan?
I'm gonna look it up, Dan, because to be honest with you, I haven't really been, because of Alabama not being in it. I'll be in there, and because of the way LSU kind of faltered down the stretch. Right now, Georgia's a 17.5-point favorite. I wanted to see that 17.5-point favorite. I knew it'd be big.
16.5.
Yeah, Michigan 16.5 against Purdue. Purdue's an 8-4 team. I think they're both going to win impressively. I mean, I'll be surprised if they don't. Quite frankly, I think they're both going to, win, and I think they're big favorites. And then I believe. TCU's
a 2.5-point favorite over Kansas State.
I knew that wasn't going to be much.
Tight. But you know what? I think USC's going to really give it to Utah. I mean,
they're only a 3-point favorite.
I mean, and that quarterback is coming into it. Boy, he is a stud. I think they're going to beat Utah by at least, I'd say, 7 points.
And that one is on Friday, by the way. You don't have to wait till Saturday. The Pac-12 is always on.
The other 3 are the Big 12, SEC, and Big 10 are on Saturday. Yep. But like Scott said, Friday you will know who is going to win the Pac-12 championship.
I guess one more thing, and I got to hit the road here. If we do by chance win this national championship, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, do I do the airways in Huntsville and miss Alabama, and what do I do? I mean,
it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
I guess it is a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have.
I just wish my dad was here. I miss my dad a lot. He loved Michigan like I do. So,
yeah, anyway. Absolutely. just cross your fingers and toes and hope Corum gets healthy and that Michigan will have everybody available in the playoff.
All right, well, Dan, thanks for the phone call at 7:26. Let's get our first break in here in the morning. When we come back, we'll stay on to the phone lines. Plus, UAB, they've zeroed in on their next head coach. He's got a lot of NFL playing experience. We'll explain next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They are still pushing all the northbound traffic coming out of Decatur over to the left lane just before the 3120 wide. So be careful coming that way. That's backing traffic up on the causeway. And we got several traffic signal problems reported. Holmes and Pulaski Pike, Enterprise and Explorer, University and Research Park, and Sparkman and the Parkway, working on getting all those back in working condition. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. It's more treatable when caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and it's used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yup, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit Cologuard.com.
I'm in.
Do you know that your car or truck or SUV may be worth up to 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and now is the perfect time to trade in and trade up to a gold certified or blue certified pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or crossover. While our new vehicle inventory continues to build back, our Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles are nearing 100 models to choose from, and a good variety too. Woody Anderson Ford Gold certified vehicles are 6 years or younger with less than 80,000 miles and have passed 172-point inspection by factory certified technicians. They have a 14-day, 1,000-mile money-back guarantee, a great comprehensive limited warranty, 24-hour roadside assistance, and go home with full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Get nearly a new ride and none of the worries. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Who knows comfort? Well, comfort is our middle name. If your home isn't as comfortable as you want it to be, we can fix that. We service all makes and brands of heating and cooling systems, even if we didn't install them. So give us a call at Environmental Comfort Systems or visit our website at envcomfort.com. We are your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Alabama license number 92314. Environmental Comfort Systems. That's envcomfort.com.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet and Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet and Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
There we are. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Don't forget, circle that calendar for December 14th. December 14th. It is a Wednesday night. That is our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Christmas Party Toy Drive presented by Talent Heating and Air. It's going to be at Flow Indoor Trampoline Park. Here's how it works. All you have to do if you want to come is just bring a toy. That's it. All you got to do is just bring a toy, and you're going to come on into Flow Indoor Trampoline Park. You get to enjoy the entire venue, not just one little part, the entire venue for free. If you got families, if you got 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, if you want to bring the whole classroom of kids, come on down. All you got to do is bring a toy. Each of them just bring a toy, come on in. They get to enjoy the entire venue of Flow Indoor Trampoline Park. We're going to have a miniature golf competition in there. It's a glow-in-the-dark miniature golf. It's pretty cool. Bubby's Diner going to be providing some food for us that night as well from 4 to 8 at Flow Indoor Trampoline Park on December 14th. Get on out there, enjoy the night. You'll be able to see all of us. You'll be able to see the Talking Ball, the Drive, the Tom Abraham Show. You're going to be able to see everybody on hand there from 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Again, December 14th, Flow Indoor Trampoline Park is the place to be. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Feel free to join us this morning. We go out to the phone lines. Brandon is with us this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Nothing says unimportant like your conference championship game on a Friday night.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how big the crowd is for the Pac-12 championship game.
Now it's back in Las Vegas this year.
Yeah.
And I believe this is the fourth year, I believe, that the Pac-12 has played this on a Friday night.
Yeah, they've been doing it the last several years.
Because they get the prime time.
Yeah.
They get the 7 o'clock
and the only
slot.
game.
And the only game on college football.
It's good for them then because nobody ever watches a lot of stuff late at night, so now they get a primetime slot where everybody's watching on Friday.
Because if you look at Saturday, where are you going to slot the Pac-12?
Yeah.
Because the Big Ten is at 7 o'clock.
9:30 at night, and nobody's going to be watching.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, you got y'all's state championships for this weekend, correct? Because over in Georgia, ours are quarterfinals.
Y'all's are a couple weeks behind me. Yeah, as far as because I know Georgia starts theirs a little later their season. Yeah, Alabama. This is the last week of high school football. They starting tonight actually. The Super 7 starts. The 7A game is on Wednesday by itself, and that's going to be Auburn and Thompson again. I mean, it's kind of become a rite of passage almost. And a couple years ago, they had that classic game. But Auburn and Thompson tonight. And
inside
then you got
Jordan there, so you're probably going to get about 15,000, I would imagine.
Auburn's going to bring a ton of people.
Yeah, I'd imagine this will be the largest attended game. It's a 7A game, but it'll be the largest
Auburn's
attended game of the whole entire playoffs by far.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I keep seeing where the Rose Bowl keeps making these demands.
Yeah.
And at what point is the college football playoff committee going to say, listen, we don't need you like you need us?
Well, that answer is 3 o'clock today. Actually, that answer comes today because the the College Football Playoff Committee and everybody has set a deadline, and it is today. The Rose Bowl and the College Football Playoff Committee are in a standoff right now.
Right.
They have given them a deadline of today, and I want to say it's either 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock. I forget the exact time. But today is the deadline. If the Rose Bowl and the College Football Playoff Committee do not come to an agreement, if they cannot work this out, they are prepared to leave the Rose Bowl out of the rotation.
Good. Just leave them out. Just kick them out.
And move on this rotation and have the Rose Bowl not part of the playoff rotation.
I mean, you want to continue to be like Notre Dame, be irrelevant, just kick them on out.
Yeah, so the deadline, Brandon, the question to your answer is.
That's what I'd do.
Yeah, the deadline is today for that to be.
Because Notre Dame doesn't want to be in a conference, and when's the last time they won anything? They've lost 4 more games this year. They're mediocre. In the Rose Bowl, if they want to continue to talk about a parade and all this other crap and not change the date and not be flexible, just boot their ass too. I wouldn't care. I mean, nobody's going to give a rat's ass.
Agree with you on that.
Especially considering what state it's played in.
Yeah, they keep acting like they're owed something. Well, there ain't a check that the Rose Bowl can't write that the Coliseum can't cash. It's not like they can't just go right up the road a little ways and that problem's solved. So I mean, they're overplaying their hand for who they are.
I agree with you, Brandon. I mean, it's a historic venue. It's a great game with a lot of history. But if they don't want to be flexible, and you have to eventually change, man. You got to change with the times. You can't continue. We can still have the Rose Bowl parade. We can still have the Rose Bowl. It can still be a great event. But eventually, you have to bend a little bit.
The reason why they want this done is because the Rose Bowl or the College Football Playoff is trying to get this done by 2024.
Right.
They want to expand to 12 teams.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't get it done, they could lose up to $450 million if they don't get this done by 2024.
Yeah.
The Rose Bowl is not the only obstacle left standing in their way of expansion, but it is the biggest hurdle. If they get this taken care of, they feel like everything else can be smoothly laid out. We can have a 12-team playoff by 2024. We'll be good to go.
Yeah.
The Rose Bowl is the biggest hiccup in their way. They have given them a deadline of today to kind of make this happen if they can get them on board.
Well, I see these people, these bowl games, look, you better just take what you can get because the money is enough that you shouldn't be arguing about a date and a time and a sunset in a stadium that you can't even have enough beer to keep everybody happy. I mean, you got your own problems you need to be worried about, not worried about when you're going to get paid from the College Football Committee.
Right.
This Friday night, we actually had to move the Rome Wolves football game to Lakewood Stadium out here because there's a rule that one of the coaches found that you got to be able to seat at least 6,000.
Oh, for a playoff game?
Yeah, Langston Hughes can't seat 6,000.
So wow!
Moved them both to they moved them both to Lakewood Stadium. They're going to play 2 games, one at 5 and one at 8. And last week we played Marist, and that is a all white Catholic rich football team that come out there, and they don't look like they belong on the field with nobody. In their 80s Nebraska style jerseys, loose, they run veer option. That is the most proud I've ever been of a win by about 10 points ever. Those dudes come out, and they are the most hard-nosed, fight you to the very end, never miss a tackle in every gap, assignment football. They've been running that offense since they were in 2nd grade, and I was floored at how hard they played us down to the last whistle. I told them people when we left, I said, y'all are amazing. I said, you don't even look like you belong out here. And come to find out, their coaches made the playoffs 35 years in a row. In 28 of those, he's made it to the 2nd round.
Yeah.
That is stunning.
Yeah, I believe, Brandon, we stayed around the corner from Marist School this past year for the SEC football media days.
Was that the one we stayed at?
The Highfalutin Castle, yeah.
The Georgia
campus,
one?
Yeah. We went by, Hey, Bolsong was pointing this out.
I was like, well, he didn't even know which school it was. And he was from Georgia.
But we figured it out.
We had to Google it, and then we come up with the cost, and it was like, okay.
This is like Randolph on steroids.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, they were pulling up in G-Wagons and Range Rovers and getting out of the cars, and I said, the Marist is here. Everybody laughed. Last night we had middle school wrestling. My boy had to wrestle and give up about 14 pounds to a kid.
I saw that, man. I saw some stuff on Facebook. Yeah, there you go.
His buddy Thaxton's wrestling. Well, he's wrestling this little redheaded girl that goes to Cedartown, and I know her mama. So I yell out, I was like, "Hey, Thaxton!" I was like, "At least get her number so you can win something." My wife is face in hand looking down. Half the people in the gym are looking and laughing, and she yells back. She's like, "I already gave him my number." And a little entertainment on a Tuesday night wrestling that lasted till like 9:40.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Crazy, man.
All right, Brandon. Thanks for the call, bud.
Down with the Rose Bowl. Roll Tide.
Yep. So anyway, back to that. So if the proposed 12-team format goes as according to plan, the Cotton and Orange Bowl would stay the current agreement. They would host the semifinals in 2024. The reason why they've kind of given the Rose Bowl this self-imposed today deadline, because other cities have taken bids for the college football playoffs. They have put in bids. They've done everything that they need to do. The Rose Bowl's holding all of this process up. And so they've kind of given them the self-imposed today deadline, because if not, they've got to reward these other venues that have come along and put in bids and done everything the right way, and the Rose Bowl could be left out in the cold.
Well, good. I don't really care. I mean, I think it's a historic venue and a historic game, but if they don't want to play ball and take their ball and go home and just be some irrelevant game every year that everybody plays in, it doesn't mean anything nationally. And it doesn't. If you take yourself out of the playoffs, Scott, what does it mean ultimately? It's just one of these things where, we have a parade, and I guess they're going to have the number 2 Pac-12 and the number 2 Big Ten team play each other. I mean, does it mean anything, though?
There's other bowls that want in. I mean, there's other bowls that...
there's other bowls that will gladly move up the pecking order and become relevant nationally and host semifinals or a championship game. I mean, if it gets built, think about Nashville. I mean, that's why they were going to build that new facility that the Titans will lose. I mean,
Music City Bowl is already on the rise.
Maybe the Music City Bowl moves all the way up. Czar will throw a party. I mean, he'll be giving away national championship tickets maybe at some point.
Jeff from the Borough with us this morning. Good morning, Jeff.
City Bowl. Well, that's exciting. Well,
it could be, Jeff.
If they get the indoor facility, if they get that new dome stadium,
they probably would get it bigger because they do want a dome be able to host. They say Super Bowl.
Yes.
Well, think about the Peach Bowl, Jeff. The Peach Bowl's moved up.
Well, I mean, yeah. What's it called? Chick-fil-A or McDonald's Bowl now? McDonald's, Big Mac Bowl. That's what it's called.
It's the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Whatever the heck it is.
There you go.
But now, I did want to say 3 things. For first of all, the Auburn Hugh Freeze thing, when it all costs, that's what you get. Okay? When you hire a basketball coach at a 4 or 5 year show cause penalty, and you hire him before the end of it, they should have been nailed then. Okay? Bruce Pearl, like I told the guy last year, SEC tournament, Buzz the Baller beats Bruce the Cheater. Auburn 6 of 37 in the first half, 16%, and they got beat by Texas A&M or Texas A&M, as you call it, Drew. And number 2, Greg Sankey did the best thing ever for college basketball in the SEC. The SEC ACC challenge next year. SEC Big 12 is finished.
Greg Sankey didn't do anything with that. Greg Sankey didn't do anything with that. That was the television right deals that forced the hand of that happening.
It's an agreement they made, whatever it is. Okay? And the SEC Big 12 is done. It's going to be in November, December, when it should have been. And January is finished. I know, Scott, you hate it. You can't stand it. And the ACC Big 10's gone through. They're finished. They're done. So it's going to be a real challenge when it's supposed to be played, like Feast Week and everything else.
Well, the thing is, though, keep in mind the Big Ten can't be on ESPN anymore. So that's why we're losing a lot of this stuff is because the Big Ten it cannot be on ESPN. That no college basketball for the Big Ten on ESPN. So the ACC Big Ten Challenge was going to die.
I mean that's fine. I'm just saying that. I just think it's great for the SEC that they've got to give it. However, I don't care how they did it.
Well, no, and the thing is, though, it's time for a change. That was 20-some years for that one, and then I believe it was 12 years or something for the SEC, the Big 12. It was time for a change. You need to play somebody different.
I'm saying, but you don't like the fact it's going to be November, December.
I don't care about that. I just didn't. It was just fun picking on you because you don't like it in the non-conference.
That's fine.
And what's your third point, Jeff?
Yeah, what's your third point?
And number 3, Wolverine Dan. Sunday, there's going to be a little game in London, England, with Kentucky and Michigan, and I'm hoping the Cats whip up on you, Wolverine. If you care about basketball, which I know you don't, but you'll hang in there, baby. See if y'all can win the Big Ten. See if y'all can beat Jeff Brom this weekend. Y'all might beat him. See if y'all can beat Purdue this weekend. Y'all hang in there, baby. Have a good weekend.
So it is going to be in London?
Yeah, I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that.
I did not know they're going over to London.
It's Kentucky, though. They got fans everywhere.
They do? Let's get a break in. I promise when we come back, we're going to talk the UAB Blazers. Guess who's going to be their head coach? I bet you can't figure it out if you've not seen the news.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like they have cleared the northbound problem at the 3120 wide north side of Decatur. Had a wreck there with a right lane blocked up. All the traffic's moving now. And we got 72 eastbound at Nance. That one's coming in as a no injury. Are you over 35 and overweight? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Men, are you having performance issues in the bedroom? Is erectile dysfunction affecting your confidence and self-esteem? Is your relationship being impacted? If ED is a problem in your life, maybe it's time to make the last time you had bad sex the last time you'll have bad sex. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, we've successfully treated many men in the area for ED and given them back their confidence, their positivity, and in many cases, helped their relationships. Our expertise is second to none, and our practice is staffed by quality medical professionals. Beyond this, the treatments we use have proven success rates as high as 90%. And unlike online pharmacies that just sell pills, or wave clinics that only offer one treatment option, we have a variety of treatment protocols, including acoustic wave therapy. We found that sometimes a combination of therapies works best, and a one-size-fits-all approach can't get you there. So make the call. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. Call 256-368-0333 or go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com.
Sometimes the best things in life are right in front of you. When's the last time you took time to enjoy everything Montesano State Park has to offer? So close to home, just 5 miles from downtown Huntsville, Montesano State Park sits on over 2,000 acres with spectacular vistas from atop Montesano Mountain. And right now is a great time to visit and enjoy all the fall colors. In just a few months, spring will arrive with native azaleas in bloom along the 20 miles of hiking trails and 14 miles of biking trails. And no matter when you visit, you can enjoy time in one of 11 stone cabins with working fireplaces, built in 1930 by the Civilian Conservation Corps. These historic cabins all sit on a bluff line that offers beautiful views from their screened-in porches. Prefer a more primitive camping experience? Montesano State Park offers improved and primitive camping year-round. If you're ready to take some time to slow down and get away, log on alapark.com and make your reservation now. That's alapark.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed precision overhead garage door service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphrey's Bar and Grill. Humphrey's is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphrey's Bar and Grill.
YKTA wants you to join their team. YKTA is currently adding machine maintenance and die maintenance positions to their fast-growing company. YKTA has new improved work schedules with built-in days off. Pay range is $25 to $33 based on experience and additional shift differential. And YKTA has opportunities for increased pay above top range through advanced skills training. Apply today at yktal.com/careers. YKTA is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
4 Heisman Trophy winners, 33 Southeastern Conference championships, 18 national championships. Hi, this is Chris Stewart of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, live from Bill Penny Toyota. We mentioned it going to break. The UAB Blazers have zeroed in on their next head coach, and reports started surfacing last night. And the UAB Blazers looking to a guy that has a lot of experience as a player, not really as a coach, and that is former NFL quarterback Trent Dilfer, expected to be named the next head football coach at UAB.
Yeah, I mean, he's been at Lipscomb Academy over in Nashville, and earlier this year, Scott, he hosted Thompson High School, and they beat Thompson, who will play, as we talked about earlier in this hour, for the 7A state championship later tonight against Auburn High School over at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Yeah, so Lipscomb Academy's had a heck of a program. That was when, but the other previous experience as a coach or mentor that Trent had was, of course, with the Elite 11, the National Football Combine. Now, I would imagine he has stepped away somewhat, a little bit, coaching Lipscomb Academy. Still involved. I don't think he'll be involved now because, again, you're going to be a collegiate head coach. But I thought it was an interesting hire because, as we know, Bill Clark had to step away before this season. Brian Vincent, his offensive coordinator, took over as head coach. They are in the Bahamas Bowl. They had a decent year, 6-6. Spinal fusion surgery for Bill Clark. There was thought that he might get medically cleared, so I thought he might come back to UAB. But a very interesting hire. It looks like they're going to go kind of outside of the box and take somebody with no college coaching experience, but what did Jackson State do with this? They did it about 3 years ago with Deion Sanders,
right?
And he's done really well on in the SWAC. So we'll see what happens with Trenton Dilfer. Trenton Dilfer looking like, and this was reported by Pete Thamel, a lot of national guys, and then confirmed by locals here at AL.com, Evan Dudley and those guys, that Trenton Dilfer is going to be the next coach of the UAB Blazers. Interesting hire.
And he did lead and has led Lipscomb to a 12-0 record this year. They are playing for a state championship in Chattanooga. Actually, Thursday. They will play on Thursday. Now, UAB is headed to a bowl game this year. They are going to take on Miami of Ohio in the Hometown Lenders Bahama Bowl on December 16th. So they did finish the year 6-6.
Didn't that used to be Popeye's Chicken Bowl at one time when you were in the Bahamas? I
don't know.
Yeah.
I think this is their I don't know what trip they're. All right, I think we've got just about 30 seconds. Let's get to Pat from Tuscaloosa real fast. Good
What's
morning,
up, Pat?
Real quick, fellas. Hey, is this stuff going to affect Alabama's recruiting with Hugh Freeze? And I'm worried about them two boys in Montgomery and him.
Well, I think the guys in Montgomery were already, even no matter who Auburn hired, I think they were going to be heavily considering the Tigers, and NIL was going to be a big part of that, Pat. I think Auburn has always interested these two young men. They visited there more than any other. It's going to be, they visited Alabama 3 times. They've slated their visit and scheduled it for December 9th through the 11th officially with Alabama. It'll be interesting to see how that visit goes. And now they've already officially visited Auburn, but that was back, during the summer basically. And now they can visit again due to the coaching change. So it's going to be interesting. I'm sure Hugh Freeze and that staff are going to try to get them on campus again to try to have the last word, probably right before the weekend before the December 21st to the 23rd signing period. So that's going to be interesting. You're just going to have to let it play out. But, yeah, I mean, certainly NIL and Auburn are still going to be heavily involved with Quay Russaw and James Smith.
Okay. All right. Hey, taking away his Twitter account, does that hoodwink him in recruiting?
Well, it's actually not true. Hugh Freeze did say that at his press conference yesterday. Scott had some of that this morning on Zone Center. Somebody asked him about the Auburn taking control, or like a firm taking control, a PR firm, of his Twitter. That's not true. Hugh Freeze said that would not be the case, and he'll have control of his own social media account.
But I guarantee you, just like a lot of college football coaches across America, they have somebody that actually does handle a lot of that, because coaches can't type 24/7.
No.
So there's a lot of people that actually help manage.
SIDs or
they help
whatnot.
manage the account. Lane Kiffin has control over his. We all know that.
He has complete control.
Yes,
he's only been told no once since he's been at Ole Miss, and that involved Lance Thompson, who of course is a long-time assistant under Nick Saban and several Jimmy Sexton clients.
All right, coming up next, top of the hour, make sure you stay with 97.7 ESPN The Zone. If you've not joined us and you're just tuning in, coming up at the top of the hour, John Summerall, head coach of the Trojans, joining us right outside of this break.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman, or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here, because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all about
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's got a wreck at Redstone and Temperance. That's west of the Parkway. That one came in with injury and entrapment. They have now canceled rescue on it. 72 eastbound at Nance Road still working. 31 northbound at the Y coming out of Decatur had a right lane blocked up by a wreck there. That one has now been cleared. Snelling needs a property manager with QuickBooks experience. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. It's actually going to be a nice Wednesday across North Alabama, southern and middle Tennessee, though it is going to be on the cooler end of the spectrum. Temperatures only climbing into the low and mid-50s. We get cold as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. We're talking about low temperatures dropping into the lower 30s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
In the SEC tonight, Vanderbilt a 3-point road underdog against VCU. Georgia minus 17 at home against Hampton. 13th ranked Tennessee minus 34.5 at home against McNeese. SMU plus 12.5 at Texas A&M. Florida a 30.5 point home favorite against Florida A&M. And George Washington a 1.5 point home favorite against South Carolina. Updated SEC championship game odds. Top ranked Georgia a 17.5 point favorite over 14th ranked LSU Saturday afternoon. It's the 5th time the teams have met in the title game, with the Tigers holding a 3-1 advantage. The over-under Saturday at 51. Red Hot winning picks at experts.winnersandwiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back to Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota here on a Wednesday morning. And what an interview we get now coming up here on the show to kick off hour number 2. Back in 2018, the Sun Belt launched their conference championship game.
That's right.
And for the first time since the inception of that game, the Troy Trojans are playing host to the Sun Belt championship game, right. And they did so thanks to a 48-19 win over Arkansas State last weekend. They finished 7-1 in conference play to take the West Division, and of course, they're led by North Alabama, Huntsville's own John Summerall.
Yeah, the Sun Belt Conference Coach of the Year. They've done a heck of a job. They're now 10-2. I really enjoyed watching them compete in his inaugural game, in his first game as coach at Ole Miss. I thought they showed a lot. And then they lost the heartbreaker. We know College Game Day was there at Appalachian State, but they didn't let it define them. And it's amazing. They had 8 straight games decided by one score. They won 7 of those, and now they've won their half of the Sun Belt Conference, and now they will host for the first time ever on Championship Saturday. They will be the only team in the state of Alabama playing, and it will be the Troy Trojans against Coastal Carolina. And Jamie Chadwell and John Summerall has been good enough to join us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, man, congratulations. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Drew and Scott. Always good to be with you all. Glad to still be practicing football. With a game on Saturday, December the 3rd. That's always a good thing. So, appreciate y'all having me.
Well, I mean, congratulations up to this point. Congratulations on what has been a fantastic first year for you guiding this program.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I think a lot of times the head coach, when things are going well, gets a lot of credit, and when things aren't going so well, maybe gets a lot of blame. But really, it's a testament to so many people within this program that have worked really, really hard. It starts with our players. I mean, everything about this game, it's about the players first, and it's a player's game, not a coach's game. And so so proud of the young men in our program who a lot of them decided to return. That in this day and age could have decided to go look to do something else after maybe not having the success they wanted to for a little while here. And I'm just glad that we're able to help those guys see something through, and proud of what everybody in this building has done to help push this program forward and help us have the kind of season we're having.
Well, I got to tell you, too, Coach, I know your offensive coordinator, Joe Craddock, another native Alabamian, went to Briarwood, was a really good player at Middle Tennessee. I know he's proud of this offense. I know you guys had the one-score games for, like we said, 8 straight and win 7 in a row. You're on a 9-game winning streak, but your offense really seems to be kind of rounding into form. When you go on the road, and Arkansas State's a tough place to play. It's been the home of a lot of really good coaches who've moved on to Power 5 jobs. But when you go on the road and win that impressively, you had to be proud of your football team, and that's a long bus ride too, Coach.
A really long bus ride. You ain't lying. We bused on Friday to Memphis from Troy, and then we practiced at a high school up there at MUS, and then you still on Saturday morning got to wake up and you got about another hour and 20 minutes to head north to get to Jonesboro. But it is a long bus ride. Arkansas State's got good history and tradition, and like you said, there's been a lot of good coaches come through there, and they got one right now in Butch that's a good football coach. And we offensively, I think sometimes everybody thinks we live in an instant gratification world where everybody just wants it to happen right now, and it's taken our offense a little bit of time to gel and grow and click. And offensively last year here, this program was not setting the world on fire, and we didn't set the world on fire to start the year this year, to be quite honest with you. And we've changed a lot of things in regards to how we're blocking things technique-wise, how we're targeting things with the offensive line. I think our offensive line is our most improved position group on our team going back to the spring to right now. In the last couple of weeks, we've run for over 200 yards because they're starting to gel. The backs are playing well. The receivers are blocking downfield. The tight ends are making good blocks. And so the offense is coming into form a little bit, and it's been fun to watch them grow and develop. Still have a long way to go. Nowhere near where we want to be on that side of the ball or really any area in our program, but I do think Joe and those guys are doing a nice job.
And defensively, Coach, head coach John Summerall joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. His Troy Trojans playing in the Sun Belt Championship game this weekend. I did not. I started looking over everything. I did not realize you have the NCAA's all-time record holder
in tackles,
for career tackles on your squad.
This dude's a machine. 112 this year.
Yeah, pretty cool story. Carlton Marshall, young man on our team from Mobile, Alabama, went to McGill Tooling. I actually recruited Carlton here. My last season here in 2017 as an assistant, he was a true freshman. And Carlton redshirted that year and then has started every game basically ever since, except for a couple that he hadn't been healthy. And he, against Army, I think he had 20 or 21 tackles against Army, and he broke the all-time FBS tackles record leader for career. It just such a tremendous young man. He's the leader of our defense without question. Really neat that our top 2 tacklers, Carlton is one of them, and our second leading tackler, Craig Slocum, who's from Florida, both are former walk-ons.
Wow.
And they're both, so our 2 leading tacklers are former walk-ons, and I think we're currently the 9th-ranked scoring defense in college football, which to have those kind of stories, I think that's what's made this place special over the years, and that's what's making this team special is we've got guys that have really come in here at the developmental program where you can grow and improve your game and take it to a new level. But defense, we've been playing really good football. I'm not going to shy away from that, and that's the standard here. And I think those kids have, on that side of the ball, it's a very much player-led deal. Our coaches, we push them, we guide them, we direct them, but those guys, they set the standard day in, day out with how they work.
Well, I've got to mention this guy, man. He's the reigning Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Week. He had a coach. I was watching your press conference. And I know you gave him credit for the pick six that really was the key play in the road victory at Arkansas State. But he had 2 interceptions in the game. He's got 3 overall. And I watched him play football and basketball in our community from Austin High School. But Reddy Stewart's had a really good year for you, Coach.
Yeah, Reddy, man. So Reddy went to Austin, like you said. That's actually my father-in-law went to Austin too, which I always kid around. My father-in-law, I'm glad some athletes came out of there, but no, Reddy has been phenomenal. I mean, he's just kind of been steady and consistent, and very patient with how he plays the game. The first pick that he had the other night, he sort of baited the quarterback into a field throw. It was a long throw, and once he saw it come out of his hand, he triggered, and it was a walk-off, man. That was the game-defining play. I mean, we were up 20-19, fourth quarter. Arkansas State was actually driving. They had the ball on, I believe, our 38-yard line, and he made a good, clean break, caught the ball, and you knew it was gonna be a house call, and that really was the play that broke the game wide open, to be quite honest with you. And our team all year is each game, it feels like we've had one of those plays. It's just kind of created the momentum that sets us apart from the other team. And that was the play. And so proud of Reddy. Unbelievable young man, very talented athletically. Yes. The thing that I don't think you can overstate about him, he's just easy to coach, man. He's coachable. And this day and age, guys that are like that, they're fun to be around because he's no nonsense. He doesn't require a whole lot of extra attention. He just kind of shows up, does his job, practices hard, studies the game the right way, and makes plays on Saturday. He's a great teammate.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you're playing host to Coastal Carolina on Saturday, and Coastal Carolina is one of these teams that they were the Cinderellas a year ago, and they were garnering a lot of attention. But this is their first ever Sun Belt championship game appearance. Coach, just kind of talk a little bit about the matchup between Troy and Coastal.
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Coastal Carolina and Jamie Chadwell, their head coach. They're 31-5 in the last 3 seasons, going back to 2020. And they're 20-4 in conference play in those 3 seasons. And so they've got a long track record the last 3 years of playing really good football. They were set to host the conference title game in 2020 against Louisiana Lafayette, and then COVID stuff got the game canceled. So they've been sort of in this environment, and they've been at the top of the league the last few years. Troy and Coastal have played the last 3 seasons, and it's been really close games each year. So I believe, it's an exciting matchup. I think our kids are excited about having the opportunity to play a premier team who, they were ranked in the top 25 last week until losing to JMU. And so for our young men, I talk to them all the time. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And they've been one of the best in this league the last 3 years, and that's not debatable. The numbers show that. I don't have to. It's not my opinion. That's 31-5, pretty much tells you where they are. And so I think that it's a good matchup, man. They're a really good football team, really well coached. They play the game with toughness and physicality. I think they have great culture, and it's going to be a good football game.
It really will. And then, Coach, I know you got to be excited about the toughness your team has showed. I mean, certainly you didn't get the results you wanted against Ole Miss or in the Appalachian State game, but when you're able to win games by a touchdown or less, 7 straight, when you're basically taking the games, and even the Arkansas State game, you just told us about the play Reddy made. The game was really close into the fourth quarter. I know the culture you're trying to set at Troy is one of toughness and tenacity and being able to finish games. You have to be proud of the mental toughness that your team showed. I thought they played with a lot of mental toughness against Ole Miss in a situation where if 3 or 4 plays had maybe gone differently, I think it could have been a game decided late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, and I think too, a lot gets talked about our Appalachian State game, and the 11th game of the 2021 season, App State came to Troy, and the score is 45-7 in favor of App. In the 3rd game of this season, we went up to App, and we lost with 2 seconds left on the last play. And while that hurt, and our whole program, it hurt everybody. My heart broke for our kids. I think that what it really showed our kids is that there was growth, and that we were improving, and we were going in the right direction. Now, seeing that growth, you still want the tangible results as W's, and so for our kids to pull themselves up off the mat again after that game and come back home and then beat a Marshall team that had just beaten Notre Dame.
Exactly.
That was sort of, I think, that 2-game stretch of App to Marshall was really where you started to see the young men in our program go, hey, we can do this. Like, we're more than good enough. We're capable. Let's see this through. And I think, like I said, if that App game doesn't happen the way it does, I don't know if we're talking about playing this Saturday. I think that kind of gave us the motivation and the focus and the confidence that, hey, we're good enough. Let's go make this happen. Let's take care of the details. And if we do that, we can be proud of the outcome. And I think, you grow more through adversity than you do through success or comfort. And I believe that adversity helped our team grow to become what we've become this season.
Yeah, and then you look at that schedule, Coach, and I mean, that takes a lot of toughness, though, to schedule an Army game that late into the season. We all know how tough Army can be, but that environment that day, probably not the best game for you guys, but you're still able to persevere and get a win against a tough physical Army squad.
Yeah, really a huge challenge when you're playing a triple option team, and in particular a service academy in November. That's not maybe how you'd ideally schedule it as a football coach, but from a schematics perspective. But Coach Munkin at Army's done a great job. They've been in bowl games 6 of the last 7 years. They've been killing, and he doesn't get enough credit for how good of a job he's done. That group, they came in here and it really took us the whole first half to kind of let the game slow down, because no matter how good your scout team gives you a picture of that offense, it's really not the same. And we went into halftime 9-0 down, and the previous week we went into halftime down 10-0 to Louisiana Lafayette. And so I've kind of kidded around. Last week we were at Arkansas State. We went into halftime down 13-7, and so I've been going into halftime each week when we're down and I go, hey guys, we got them right where we want them. We're used to this. And so for us, I think our guys understand. I use the analogy with them a decent amount that I think UFC's kind of become more in vogue now. But when I was growing up, I used to watch boxing. I used to love watching Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, George Foreman, all those guys. It's a 12-round match when you box. Well, it's a 4-quarter football game. Nobody gets a winner or loss at halftime. And so you don't like 6 rounds into a boxing match, there's not a winner declared unless somebody's knocked out. You're not going to knock Troy's football out in the middle of the game. We're going to keep playing. And if we keep playing, we'll look up at the end of the game after the fourth quarter's over and go, all right, who was the winner? And so that's sort of been our mantra and how we approach things. And I'm proud of our kids for continuing to fight. But that Army game was a fun one. It was a great day. It was a career. It was a record here for attendance here at home. We had 31,000 tickets that were out, and it was a fun environment for sure.
Well, hopefully it's going to be a fun environment Saturday. You're going to pack the bed. I mean, Coach, we know that they didn't finish the way they wanted to against James Madison, but this is a really good Coastal team. What's going to be the keys for the Troy to win a ring and win the Sun Belt Conference?
Yeah, their offense, you got to control the line of scrimmage and the run game. They do a really good job. They're like a shotgun triple option offense, so you got to be sound in your responsibilities and do your job, and then limit the explosive plays in the pass game, because where they're really good is they run the ball sort of like Army but out of the gun, and then they throw the ball deep off of it. And so really good at creating explosive plays. They've been putting up points the last several years on everybody. We got to play sound and clean on defense. Offensively, we just need to execute and protect the football, don't turn it over, and then play good, clean special teams. And if we can not beat ourselves, that's what I talk to our guys a lot about. Is Troy doesn't need to beat Troy, and if we'll just not beat ourselves, then we'll be in for a good 4-quarter game, and it'll be, I think, an exciting matchup, a fun game. But our guys need to just play the game the way it's meant to be played. And don't, I don't shy away from the fact is it a championship game? Yes, but that doesn't mean you prepare any different. You keep preparing the way you've been preparing all year.
Yeah, they certainly do. And then it would be a major bowl trip for you guys. which would be very exciting. You're going to a bowl regardless, going to postseason, but nothing like being a conference champion and being able to represent the Sun Belt Conference, which, I still think is becoming one of the better group of 5 leagues in the country.
Yeah, I think without question, top to bottom, and I'm biased maybe a little bit, but I think we are the premier group of 5, to be honest with you. I mean,
right.
I know the American gets a lot of attention right now because of Central Florida, Tulane, and Cincinnati. Those are good teams. But I think top to bottom, you look at even the middle section and the lower end of our league. I mean, Georgia Southern went to Nebraska and won that game and put a bunch of points up on them and barely got bowl eligible. Like, this league, and that was a record-wise, they were 6-6 in this league. Marshall finished 7-5 and went to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame. Like, this league, week in, week out, if you're not ready, you're going to get exposed. And every team in this league can beat you, and they can beat anybody. And it's funny. I was talking to somebody on the staff at Alabama yesterday. They called me about something. They're like, "Man, that league is like the SEC JV league. Like, it's like you're every week you're in a dogfight." And I'm like, "That's what it is." I mean, and there are no gimmies. And so it's a great league. I'm honored to be a part of it. I think our kids enjoy competing in it. The coaches and the players in this league, I think, have elevated what this league's all about. And I think Keith Gill, our conference commissioner, has done a fine job through conference realignment of making sure that we came out on the other side of the street.
Did your first year kind of fly by? I know you got a game on Saturday,
to me it has.
Did it seem like it just flew by?
Yeah, it's been fast, man. It's been a whirlwind. What's kind of crazy and wild for me is December the 2nd, 2021 was the day I was offered and accepted the job here, and then December 3rd, 2022, we're playing for a conference title. So 1 year and a day later, we're about to be playing for a conference title, which it's been a whirlwind. It's been fun. It's been exciting. There have been very many dull moments. I already don't sleep a lot to begin with, so I think I've slept less this year. So there's been, it's like, I already got 4 kids at home. This is like having 4 newborns all at the same time. So, but it's been a lot, man. But we're having a good time, and yes, it's flown by. It has flown by.
No question about that. Well, Coach, good luck. The Troy Trojans going to pack the Vet. Hopefully it's going to be a sellout over there, set a record. Can beat Jamie Chadwell and the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers to get a Sun Belt Conference title in year 1 and a really nice bowl trip as well. We are very proud of what you've been able to accomplish in year 1. We've been following it very closely. And, again, we know how busy you are this week preparing for a championship game. We thank you for the time, and go Trojans.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. You have a great day.
All right, that was Troy Trojan head coach John Summerall joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And you're right, he's preparing for a Sun Belt Conference championship game. And was kind enough to join us.
There's even talk, and I didn't want to ask him about it just because you don't want to put the cart before the horse.
No, and
but
he's
you could go to the Cotton
it.
Bowl. I mean, there is a small possibility that could happen. Okay, I mean, there's been speculation about it. I mean, the New Orleans Bowl is usually where the champion goes, but it could even move up in the pecking order. But I'm not going to jinx everything and ask him about that. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I just don't want to
go out
jinx
and
it.
then
then you're just like, you don't want to start saying, "Oh, Cotton Bowl."
Yeah, then they go out. They're trailing at half against Coastal.
He's already told us about trailing at half the last 3 games, so I don't want to. I didn't want to karma it out there by talking about the Cotton Bowl for crying out loud, which would be unbelievable, by the way.
But at least he beat the Butch Jones and the Fighting
champion of
Wolves.
life.
Yeah, there in Arkansas State, 48-19. All right, we got to get a break in. Jake Crane's going to fire us up next about this Hugh Freeze hire and more.
He called it, though.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, he was championing for Hugh Freeze. He got his guy. So what does that mean going forward? Jake Crane will explain next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a new wreck eastbound on Old Madison Pike at Research Park. That one's coming in as a no injury. County Line and Old Highway 20, nobody hurt. Redstone and Temperance paged out as an injury entrapment, but they cancel rescue. They still may be trying to clear 72 eastbound at Nance. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye's Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find him online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing: helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com. This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Indeed, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you as we are live from Bill Penny Toyota on a windy Wednesday morning. And we were talking about it going to break. Just had John Summerall, head coach of the Troy Trojans, on before the break. Great stuff there as his team getting ready to take on Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt Championship game. And just like Hugh Freeze, he worked his way up from from a group of five, probably trying to get a Power 5 job if he keeps this rise. But Hugh Freeze is where we go now because he is the new head coach of the Auburn Tigers, and our next guest called it.
He certainly did. He's been with us weekly, and, of course, you can catch him from 6:30 to 8 on Crane and Company with Blaine Crane, his brother, and, of course, our guest earlier this week, David Cohn, also part of that Crane and Company show, part of the Real Daily Wire, a national sports show, but they certainly keep their pulse, their finger on the pulse, I should say, pardon me, of college football. And our next guest, he certainly did. I said that Hugh Freeze is the perfect candidate for Auburn. Our next guest said it from the jump, that Hugh Freeze should be the guy if Auburn makes the hire, and they certainly did. And now we're going to talk to Jake Crane about that and about the college football playoff. Jake, welcome back to Huntsville. How are you?
Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all having me back. Feeling good. I'm glad they finally listened. I wish they would have listened when, Gus was let go and they decided to hire Brian Harsin. But, we're here now, and I really thought he killed the press conference yesterday, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of people were tuning in to the press conference, wanting to hear what he had to say, pay attention to particular words from Hugh Freeze on how he answered some questions. And if you were a PR firm and you were in charge of that press conference, you left feeling pretty good. Like you said, he handled it very well.
Yeah, winning the press conference is a real thing when you take a new job, especially a big job. But, I thought him being genuine and being honest about everything that happened. I thought that was the best approach. I had a feeling, knowing Hugh the way I do, that he was going to go about it like that. And look, keeping Cadillac Williams, great decision. You had to do it. He needs to keep Zach Etheridge, too. And I wouldn't be shocked if you saw this staff get built very quickly.
Yeah, I think it has to be, Jake, because the dead period in recruiting for high school players is going to be lifted on Friday, and then we know December the 5th the transfer portal is going to open, so they've got to hit the ground not running. They got to hit it sprinting, so he's got to get some guys on the staff put in place. Certainly Carnell Cadillac Williams is going to help. He's already firmed up Jeremiah Cobb, signing earlier with Auburn, the running back from Montgomery Catholic, December the 21st through the 23rd. But, again, I think when I was talking about this yesterday on this show and then on the Recruiting Blitz as well, the key to me, the difference is Lane Kiffin and Hugh were the two guys. But while Lane is a great designer of offense and play caller, I think Hugh is a quarterback whisperer. And what I mean by that is I think he develops quarterbacks. He certainly took Malik Willis, who was floundering at Auburn, and made him a draft pick. I'm going to be fascinated to see what he does with Robbie Ashford. And then I thought it was interesting, too, at least right now, Zach Calzada saying he's going to stay and compete at Auburn.
Look, Zach Calzada, and I know Hugh said he's going to bring in an OC most likely, but it's still going to be a very Hugh Freeze style of offense. Zach Calzada can't run an RPO offense. Like, dog, you got to get out. I'm sorry. Like, if I'm Hugh Freeze, like I didn't come to Auburn to make friends and keep the bad players on the roster. Zach, you don't fit what we're trying to do. Best of luck to you. Here's some lunch. Go get in the transfer portal, whatever. But I tell you what, man, if Robbie Ashford can just throw it decent enough, just good enough where it's a threat, or play just like he did against Bama, he is actually the perfect fit for what a Hugh Freeze style of offense wants to do. that RPO offense, that three-man surface method that puts pressures on three different spots at the same time. That's what an RPO does. I feel like Robbie fits it really well. Zach Calzada, look, I'm sorry, bro. Like, you came to Auburn for free. You know, you're on scholarship, paid for your surgery and all that. You need to go to a pro-style offense. This just isn't it.
You look at Hugh Freeze, and you go back to Gus Malzahn, and then you have Brian Harsin, and now you have Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is the first of the three that truly, I think, can develop Robbie Ashford into a quarterback. You look at Hugh Freeze and what he did with Malik Willis. A lot of Malik was growing up, but he did turn Malik into a NFL drafted quarterback. Do you get the sense that he can take Robbie Ashford to that next level?
You know, if there's an old saying, if you do something once, you can do it again. Robbie Ashford making some of the throws that he made against Alabama really, in my eyes, kind of started giving him a chance. Because before this, he hadn't really done anything in the pass game that made you feel like he's a legitimate threat when it comes down to being balanced. But if he's able to throw the ball the way he did against Bama and the way we know he's able to run, he can really actually be a problem. But I will say this about Hugh when compared to Lane, Gus, and Brian Harsin. Hugh wants to recruit. Hugh is a head coach that gets very heavily involved in recruiting. Gus, socially kind of awkward. Brian Harsin, pretty arrogant, never really had to recruit himself. And Lane Kiffin really just recruits quarterbacks. That's it. Hugh Freeze is a much more involved recruiter as a head coach, which I feel like you have to be nowadays if you want to compete against Alabama and Georgia.
Well, you know, and I will say this, too, about Hugh. I'll give him this credit. I think that's why he's a really good coach. But he doesn't have to necessarily be a Malik Willis or a Robbie Ashford to work. Chad Kelly was a good athlete, and they had a really good offense there. Bo Wallace, for crying out loud, he beat Alabama. So I think he's good at tweaking his offense. And I think by far when you hold up the resumes, I know he didn't win a conference title at Ole Miss, but it's very difficult to do. And Lane Kiffin's only won a conference title at FAU. Yeah, exactly. So my thing with him is his offensive acumen is very good. And, guys that follow the Auburn program, and I know you do as well very closely, the key is, and what Auburn's bugaboo has been, even under Gus Malzahn, dating back now, that would be over 10 years, is a lack of a downfield passing game consistently. And I think that's what Hugh Freeze is going to give Auburn.
Yeah, well, when you hear people say, oh, well, Gus Malzahn and Hugh Freeze run the same offense, that's
Not
because
really.
you don't know what you're looking at. Like, if you think that, you legitimately have no idea. You're watching the ball. That's what you do. You're watching the ball the whole game, then trying to tell everybody what's happening. The pass game between Hugh Freeze and Gus Malzahn is like a Harry Potter book compared to an Eric Carle book about caterpillars. It's not even close. It's a lot more intricate, not only just downfield, but the intermediate passing game and the quick game and the screen game. And from a play calling standpoint, Gus was very predictable on what he was going to call when. He's going to run the ball basically inside zone or outside zone on first down. He's going to, if it's 2nd and 7 or more, probably going to throw it. If it's 3rd and 3 or less, he's probably going to run it or run the slip-off split zone. Hugh Freeze will pitch backwards. The tempo and the play calling, the way he goes about it, is totally different. That's why if anybody ever says Gus Malzahn and Hugh Freeze are the same when it comes to offense, ask them to explain that, because they can't, and if they do, they're just making it up.
You mentioned that you get a feeling that the staff is going to come together pretty fast. Do you have any ideas of where he might go with his staff?
Well, Drew brought up when the dead period ends and when the transfer portal starts. But also, guys, the real signing day is now in December. It's not in February anymore. It's not early signing day. That's signing. There's a signing day, then a late signing day, which is in February, where signing day used to be. So, it's the timeline dictates results when it comes to hiring coaches for recruiting. The timeline matters more than anything. Plus, Hugh's got enough connections. There's enough people who want to coach at Auburn. I would not be shocked if you didn't see them kick the tires with Zach Arnett at Mississippi State or Travis Williams at UCF. The OC comment was surprising to me in the press conference. That was probably the most surprising thing that came from it, because Hugh has been the offensive coordinator and the play caller everywhere he's gone. He said he may step back, but that's a lot harder than it's a lot easier said than done. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it is, because he's always, like, as you said, he's always called the plays himself, and I think it's one of his strengths as a coach. And then also, Jake, I thought it was big, too, as you said, getting Carnell Williams in place, getting him locked in. But I wouldn't be surprised if guys like Zach Etheridge, Jimmy Brumbaugh also are retained, because he's got to hit the ground running, even with the high school recruiting, because there are kids. I mean, everybody knows the state of Alabama this year is loaded. There's still some kids that haven't made up their minds. They're certainly going to hit the ground running on Friday. He already stated the fact that he can't wait till they get started getting on the road. But also, too, I think if you're like, I thought it was interesting that Landon King already took his name out of the transfer portal, because I'm sure he's done his research. And you look at guys like Evan Ingram and Laquan Treadwell. This is something we haven't seen Auburn do in a while, and that's develop, of course, a tight end. Gus barely ever played any of them, and then wide receivers. That's a couple places where Auburn's got to get better.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, especially in today's game, you got to be able to affect defenses at all three levels and at all different, skill positions. Zach Etheridge, I think Zach's going to stay. I think that'd be smart. Jimmy Brumbaugh on the D-line, I don't know, man. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The way y'all came out against Bama is unforgivable on the defensive line. It's unforgivable to me. The plan was terrible by Schmedding, but, he's getting in the clown car and going back to Boise with the rest of the group that got brought down here to, try and turn average Joes into a winner. Couldn't do it. But, look, would I be shocked if most of the staff stayed? No, because it does have to happen fast. But you got to bring some new blood in here at some point. You got to get some guys in here with some dog in them. You can't just hire your friends or somebody that played at Auburn a while ago. You have to have somebody that can actually coach ball and recruit. I know Zach can do that. I know Cadillac can do that. Other than that on that staff, I don't know. Christian Robinson has been horrible. Auburn's linebackers were the worst coached unit on the defense. I mean, he cost him and Owen Papo cost Owen Papo a lot of money this year with what people thought. Auburn's linebackers look more lost than Joe Biden in a room full of nothing but mirrors.
Oh, Lord. Well, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about Conference Championship Saturday. We talked about it in the first hour. I don't see a scenario where Michigan or even Georgia lose these games. Now, I could see some situations in the Pac-12 and the Big 12 championship games, but we've identified the top four. If they win, they're in. What are your thoughts on Championship Saturday and Friday?
Well, my thoughts are, here's what needs to happen, okay? Because the committee, they say they're going to use this rubric, but they don't really have to use it, head-to-head, strength of schedule, conference championship, results versus common opponents, and top 25. But then they contradict each other all the time. I need numbers next to criteria, like we do in college basketball. I need to see numbers. I don't need to let this be left up to interpretation for everything. They said, rankings isn't a science, it's an art. Well, I'd much rather have Neil deGrasse Tyson doing this than Jackson Pollock. And that's what it feels like. How is Alabama in front of Tennessee? In all of the metrics, if you're going to say that the quarterback being hurt affects their rankings, then come out and say it. Come out and say it, because head-to-head Tennessee beat Bama. When you look at every metric, common result versus top 25 opponents, because they say they don't take margin of victory or defeat into account. But if that's the case, then how is Tennessee behind Alabama? How is Kansas State and Utah why ahead of Washington when they have 3 losses and Washington has 2? It's contradictory across the board. It's because these things can coexist at the same time. The 4 best teams in the country and the 4 most deserving teams to be in the playoff. Right now on a neutral field, Alabama versus TCU, I'm picking Bama if I'm betting. I am. Right now, if Tennessee played Alabama on a neutral site with Joe Milton at quarterback for Tennessee, I'm taking Bama. But is it the 4 best teams or is it the 4 most deserving teams? Because I think if USC loses and they're the only one that lose, it makes it easy. You put Ohio State in that 4 spot. If TCU loses, I think you put Ohio State in the 3 and TCU in the 4. So, I just wish there was a numeric value we could assign to strength of record, or maybe do it like the RPI or SOS in college basketball. I don't like this. Let's just leave it up to interpretation.
Well,
your thoughts though on Luke Fickell going to Wisconsin. I wanted to get your opinion there.
Well, I question it more. I don't blame Luke for doing it.
Right.
I question Wisconsin. You fired Paul Chryst, who was 86-45, because you guys thought Jim Leonard was the guy, was generational, and you were going to lose him. But all of a sudden, Luke Fickell sends you a love letter in between class without anybody seeing, and you go ahead and take him over Jim Leonard. Like Luke Fickell, I get it. Is Luke Fickell the guy who maybe was a struggling actor as a young guy who's been engaged to his high school sweetheart, then gets a role in Yellowstone, now he's famous and he's dating Selena Gomez? I get it. I understand it on Luke Fickell's part, but I don't understand it on Wisconsin's part. Y'all fired Paul Chryst because Jim Leonard was the heir apparent, and now all of a sudden Jim Leonard isn't good enough. I don't know, Wisconsin. We'll see. I just thought it was very interesting the way they went about it.
Well, and I've got to ask you about this. We've already had an impassioned discussion about the Rose Bowl. I think if they don't want to play ball, they should just kick them out and elevate another bowl game. What are your thoughts on the Rose Bowl and the college football playoff?
Is there a more overrated bowl game? I mean, can we just be honest? The granddaddy of them all? Not in my mind. We need to get past this. You're kind of like Notre Dame. You're not as hot as you think you are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, the Rose Bowl, to me, it's a cool story, but there's a lot of other cool bowls, too. I mean, that's the great thing about college football. We play for Old Oaken buckets and milk jugs and roses and oranges and things like that. The Rose Bowl needs to realize it was a 9 out of 10 back in the day. I'm sorry, you're older. That giraffe tattoo looks like a dinosaur now. You need to get over yourself and get with the program.
Kind of like a college football coach not wanting to adapt his offense. I mean, basically, I mean that's the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl back then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
When I grew up, the Rose Bowl was it. I mean, living in Big Ten country, that was it. That's what you strived for every year was to get to the Rose Bowl.
Scott, I know the 50s were great, man, but I'm just not down with it.
No, I'm just saying it is time for a change. It is. They need to adapt like everyone else.
And I'll say that for Scotty. He wasn't.
But I'm not that old, but it was good.
God, I'm messing with you, man. I know you're not. I know you weren't on the Titanic or anything like that.
Well, certainly the Rose Bowl may be on the Titanic, but Jake, we appreciate it, no doubt about it. Now let everybody know how to connect with you guys over at Crane & Company.
Just don't let Drew paint you like one of his French girls there, Scott. You can find us, just go to YouTube. That's a horrifying thought.
That is. My mind went somewhere.
Type in CRAIN and Company, man. You'll find us. We're live every weekday morning, 7:30 to 9 Eastern. It's always good to get talking to y'all. Glad Cone got on. He was probably flexing that Michigan muscle a little bit.
Oh, he was just a little bit. He's excited.
He was. He was.
All right, y'all be good.
Thank you, brother.
Jake. I got to get a break. I got bad images in my head.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a wreck at 53 in Douglas. I think this one's going to be on Douglas. No injury. They were looking for a wreck eastbound 565 about mile marker 2. That's east of Mooresville. Never found it. Eastbound on Old Madison Pike at Research Park's a no injury. County Line and Old Highway 20's a no injury. Redstone and Temperance did have an injury. Still may be working in. The $5 big box is back at Popeyes with 2 pieces of that hand-battered Louisiana seasoned chicken, 2 sides and a buttermilk biscuit. Popeyes University and George 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again proud to be a sponsor of All Things Football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Christmas is approaching fast. This year, don't wait until it's too late to find the perfect gift. Hurry into Bob Wallace Appliance to take advantage of our Black Friday sale, now through November 30th. We have the brands you know and trust, like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, Maytag, and GE. This holiday season, we want to thank you for buying local. Visit us in Huntsville, Florence, Coleman, and at BobWallaceAppliance.com. That's BobWallaceAppliance.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
So close to home, just 5 miles from downtown Huntsville, Montesano State Park sits on over 2,000 acres with spectacular vistas from atop Montesano Mountain. And right now would be a great time to purchase our zone deal so you can plan your getaway and save money. Get a 2-night stay in a cabin at Montesano State Park for the price of just 1 night, only $140. Get your zone deal before they're gone at 977ESPN.com.
Local sports is covered right here.
Well, appreciate what you guys do for sports, but also for high school sports and taking time to talk to us. That means a lot, and appreciate what you guys do, and appreciate you having us on.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone's short time left here. In our show, we are live once again from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department. Don't forget December 14th. That is our holiday Christmas party at Flow Indoor Trampoline Park. All you got to do is bring a toy, and you can come enjoy all of the fun that Flow has to offer. If you've got kids, if you got a large family, just each of you bring a toy, and you can come and enjoy the entire night, 4 to 8 for free, courtesy of 97.7 ESPN The Zone. All toys will go for Toys for Tots. So we have that coming up as well. Coming up on Friday, don't forget the UAH Chargers back in action at home, taking on Lee, and it is another Bill Penny Toyota night there inside Spraggins Hall. All tickets in the upper deck area, in the bleacher section, in the general admission seats, they are free, courtesy of Bill Penny Toyota. So get on out there and watch some Charger basketball.
And don't forget tonight, because the game got postponed from yesterday evening, you're going to have some basketball on ESPN 97.7 The Zone tonight. You're going to have the Buckhorn Bucks taking on the Huntsville Crimson Panthers, hosting them, because as we know, Scott, a lot of high school action was postponed yesterday due to all the inclement weather, including the Grissom Tigers also against the Austin Black Bears. That was postponed due to just simply the fact that there was so much severe weather going through our area and our state yesterday.
Yeah, so make sure you download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app today so you can listen to a little high school basketball coming up your way this evening. And don't forget the high school state championships get underway tonight. You got that 7A game. And in Class 2A, the Fife Red Devils later this week will look to capture yet another state championship. And Brandon was talking about, this team coming out there. It just reminded me of the Fife Red Devils so much, because they're not going to wow you when they get off the bus, but good Lord, they are physical, they are tough, and they are mean.
No doubt about it. The Fife Red Devils, I believe, going for state championship number 6 under the great Paul Benefield, and they're the only undefeated team, Scott, to make it to the Super 7 this year.
That's unbelievable.
They're 14-0, so the Fife Red Devils trying to have a revenge tour. They didn't get to the Super 7 last year, didn't win the state championship. They're trying to win it again for the Class Act, Coach Paul Benefield, and that great community on the over Sand Mountain to the Fife Red Devils.
All right, don't forget, also coming up on Saturday, if you head over to John Hunt Park, there's going to be about 3,000 runners there. It's the Running Lane National Championship cross-country event. So Sports Commission busy with that as well. All right, that's going to do it for our 2 hours. We'll be back in studio tomorrow for a Thursday edition. I missed Grady the Greek. We had no games to call. Grady the Greek, no call today.
He decided not to pick championship Saturday.
Nope.
With no Alabama.
That's all right. No Grady the Greek. First time all year we've not had Grady the Greek on a Wednesday. Hey, we'll see him December 14th, though, at Flow.
This view was worth a hike.
Right? And it's a good way to stay on top of my health.
Yes, I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. Have you screened for colon